What's the theme song?
What's up, everybody? It's FSP
I don't think
number
there is one.
25, and we're having random conversation as we're doing the intro, like usual. It's okay, you know. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Fun Speculation here on YouTube. We are going to have an interesting show because there's a lot of I think there's a lot of debatable topics actually this week. We're going to be talking about Square 2022 stuff and Final Fantasy and interesting things that have happened over the past week or so. We're kind of removed a little bit now from gaming non E3 season, so we've gotten that news, and now everything's kind of sat and it's processing and in the back of our brains, and now it's time to talk about some other stuff that's been happening. But we got on this episode 25, we have an amazing panel as always. 3-Bit managed to be here this week, so what's up, 3-Bit?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fun Speculation Podcast. I'm 3-Bit.
Yeah.
And,
3-Bit.
How you been, 3-Bit?
I don't know. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I am tired, but I am good, and I'm gonna hype myself up. So if I have more energy than it seems, then yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, I got something for you for that.
Energy? Is
We'll
it?
talk later.
Okay.
Yeah, it's energy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Energy bars. But yeah, I'm pretty good. E3 has passed us. Now we are in the time of reflection. So we are now thinking about what we saw, and we're just meditating, and we're just thinking about it. So, but yeah, I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Hey, Jasper.
Yeah.
Hey, hi.
Yeah, so hey, we'll go to Jasper next since 3-Bit initiated that. Like, what's up, Jasper? How have you been? I know it's a question that you find hard to answer sometimes, but what's up, man? How are you doing?
Yeah,
okay?
I'm still struggling to answer that question. I never know how I'm doing in the moment that's asked, so I'm okay.
You look swell.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing good.
Like before, when Jasper hopped in here, because he's always usually the first person to hop in, like before the show starts. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? He's like, I don't know how to answer that question. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean?
What'd you do?
He was like, well, I mean, do you want me to answer it like in general, or like you want to run down on my day? I'm like, I don't just fucking say good or like bad. I don't fucking know, man. It's like putting too much into it. That's fucking Jasper though, man. It's everything's so literal. It's awesome. Oh, there's 3-Bit. What's up, man?
Hi.
Hey, you do look tired. Turn it back off. No, I'm just kidding. No, you look great. Psychonauts is here as well. He's got the energy for 3-Bit, I suppose, is what he said. What's up, Psycho?
Yeah. Not much. Thanks for having me on today, and I'll carry 3-Bit through this. You know, we got so much to talk about today on every side of the consoles where we got going on that has been said. So I just been playing what was it? Dragon Quest 11. I've been playing the shit out of that the last couple days. So
yeah,
been enjoying it.
It's a good game. It's a good game.
Oh yes, I'm just past I think the mid game, so we'll see how much further story content this has. I just got to the world tree, so
yeah.
If you played this game, you know where I am. But it's really fun.
My phone's making weird noises, man. It's like playing some like little.
Oh, I thought that was my phone.
No, it's like some China song.
China song.
That's what it sounded like.
Who's been controlling. That's who's been controlling your Alexa. There you go. So we figured out. We cracked the Alexa bandit for Mav.
No, his sounds are off though. Like my sounds are off.
So was your sound bar, and sound was coming through your sound bar. So it's fine now. There you go.
There's music coming from my sounds are off. Shut up, phone.
Okay.
It's YouTube. It's called
Fuzzy. How was you, everybody? How have you been?
I've been pretty good. Just
all right.
Trying to avoid Twitter's arguments and disputes over nonsense. It just does it have ray tracing? I need confirmation. What? You're asking for papers for a game that isn't even out yet? Seriously? No, but other than that, been pretty good. Just I guess compressing or decompressing from the shows and all the live events and things
nonsense.
Like that, or the game showcases and such. And man, now it's the waiting game of when these games are going to be able to be played and
Oh my
Get
god.
to download them, buy them, whatever. Just can't wait.
2023 is going to be insane. That's all I got to say, Fuzzy.
Yeah.
Insane. We don't even know the second half of 2023 yet.
Nah. And the first one's already stacked to the brim.
It already the beginning half of 2023 has like 5 times more content than 2022 had from all platforms. We don't really know what PlayStation has the first half of 2023, right? I mean, not for first party yet, do we?
Isn't it like Final Fantasy?
Is that? Well, yeah, because it's an exclusive.
That's not first party.
That's
winter
of 2023, isn't it?
But that's end of, that's second half of. I'm talking about first half.
Well be first party.
That's true. We're gonna talk about that, but I think that's towards the end of next year, I think, though, right? Like first half of next year. If Forspoken comes out and if God of War comes out this year, then that I don't know what's coming for the first half of 2023 on PlayStation for first party. But besides, I mean, there's so much third party games coming out first half of 2023. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
PlayStation VR 2, maybe.
Oh, that's a good one. Maybe they'll have that hit in February or March.
Oh yeah, that's next year, right? That's first half next year.
As far as we know, we don't really know if it's coming out this year or next year.
They have not said anything about when that's coming out at all.
Yeah, that's weird. How you gonna promote the games for VR but not promote when the actual VR?
I was very outspoken about that, but nobody else seemed to care.
Or you were forspoken.
I was very forspoken about that. Nobody seemed to care. I was like, for that showcase, I thought I when we kind of reviewed it on here, I talked about their state of play was really good at third party state of play. It had great games and stuff in it, but I felt like the focus on VR was a little misplaced without any pricing or without any window of release or anything, because we have
tried to get it out before holiday this year so they could make some holiday sales on it.
Well, that's what I thought, but with the PlayStation not being available to begin with, and then you're releasing this product that's only usable on that, it's kind of I'm not 100% sold on how big of a market it's going to have, right? Well, and to have so much of your show about it and reveal these games for it without other things was kind of.
To be fair, they were last to announce the PlayStation 5 launch date. We assumed it was because they were waiting for Xbox to announce it and stuff like that. But maybe they're just companies are going to now take time to a month before it actually comes out to announce a release date instead of.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking it coming to PC, considering that you can connect this the PSVR to a computer as well, and then have something with Epic Games with the VR, and have all their VR day one.
Right, but the first PSVR wasn't supposed to be a great experience on PC. It was usable as a VR, but it wasn't an Oculus, right? So I'm hoping this PSVR 2 is more functional, for PC usage, because I think that would widen the market more for it.
But I also don't think they want to market it to PC as of right now, because there'll be limited supplies, so they're probably trying to not market that as much.
Considering that the console market there's only there's not as many as the PS4, and you can only get to a certain amount of
but I mean you're not getting 20 million PlayStation VR sales day one.
No, you don't even have that. You don't. You have 100 and how many 100 million, 110 million PS4s out there, something like that, right? Yeah. And they sold 5 million PSVR ones. So, but ratio wise, right now there's 15 million or maybe 20 close to PS5. So. I'm just trying to do the math there. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying that somebody is buying a PS that doesn't have a PS5 yet, but wants the PSVR 2, they can buy it for their PCs, because since they have powerful PCs, and wait until they can get their hands on a PS5. So that way they can still make sales, knowing that eventually I'm going to get a PS5, but I can use it on my PC through the Epic Store. So they can market it that way, but.
But are they going to have those PlayStation games playable via PC? Those PlayStation VR games, though, I doubt it, right? And the other thing about that is last time, again, PSVR 1 had very limited features compared to other VR headsets on PC. So even if it's usable on PC, if you're making the decision to buy a VR headset, I don't know if that's what you would go for As opposed if you're planning on using it for PC to begin with, right? Just because of the lack of functionality compared to other PC VR headsets.
And we also don't know if the store is going to be locked down on that. We don't know how like restrictive it's going to be.
Because when's Quest 3 coming out? That's
I think there was some leaked documents or leaked like patent files on the next Valve headset. I don't know about the
so Oculus. I'm just saying, like when Oculus the next Oculus comes out or the next Vive or whatever like else comes out, Oculus
3
then Quest. There's gonna be a lot of talk about those too, and those PC users are I don't know, like maybe more likely to get that because like Oculus Quest 2, you don't even have to have a device. You can just use it wherever, right? And like that allows it to be sold a lot.
Super impressive though. Like
they are for sure.
Like the resolution in each eye, I think, is higher than the Quest and also
so you're gonna have a high end audience or like a very like passionate VR audience buy that headset. Right, that's going to be like for the enthusiast, the VR enthusiast, right? That really wants that like really great VR experience. What I'm saying is, I just don't see that as being a massive market on console, because I think there's a lot of players on PC that are VR enthusiasts that are getting VR headsets for their PCs, and they may not want to spend another $500-$600 for a PS5, $500 for a PS5, and then another $500 or $600 also for a VR headset, because you have to have the PS5 first, then you got to have the
like a $300 headset on PC.
And if you just want to try VR, then you got a $300 like or $250 like Oculus Quest 2. You can go out there and you don't even have to have anything to, like like a PC or a console. You know what I mean?
But but this is straight for PlayStation users. So that's why I was saying people that are getting the PS5 and they don't want to wait because they can't, and they can get this VR headset. They can use it on their PC. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
it would be nice if that's the case.
A little bit if you look at the specs and everything. I mean,
to me, they just got to increase the functionality on PC. I agree with you. That would be great. I think that's what they should do. But like last time, that's not what they did with the PC functionality. It was more just like you can see the VR, but you didn't have a lot of the capabilities that the other PC headsets had with the interaction with the PC. So what I'm hoping is PSVR 2 is a better PC VR headset, right? Than the first one was, because that would make a lot of sense.
Well, Sony wants to go towards PC so much, so that's why I'm just saying that. We're possibly seeing a move towards PC.
Have they announced any of these PSVR games for PlayStation that are coming to PSVR for PC yet, or playable at PC?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's still in the works. I think as they probably get closer to launching the hardware, they'll probably unveil like on like a blog,
especially the third-party games like Resident Evil VR. I could see that on PC
because Sony doesn't like to announce games coming to PC. They like to just kind of like throw a tweet or something.
I don't know. They did this time on stage with Last of Us Remake.
Well, now
and people saw their consoles in half.
But also, you saw the outrage. So when they say an outrage, the next
I don't think Sony even saw
that. I don't think they care. Like that's just what they're gonna do now. That's like was the first time they've ever done that. You know what I mean?
Well, they hide their messaging. They hide their messaging. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they move the goalposts as well. You know what I mean? Like they've been like feeding this certain line to the audience for a certain amount of time, and then when it's time to move the goalposts, they do it and act like everything they've ever said before didn't even exist. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's just kind of what they do. And now we're in this new phase where we know everything that Jim Ryan's been talking about, and then we saw the Last of Us remake, announced. And we're also making it for PC. It's like they're not even hiding it anymore. It's just like this is our new thing. But that's why I was curious, like because the state of play was only like like a week or two before that. So if they had plans for those games to be playable via PC through their headset, I would wonder why would not make those announcements at that time, right? Because for me, I think in like the VR is like just going to for PSVR. They know they're not going to sell like 50 million of them, right? Like they're going to sell maybe 5-10 million of them by the end of this generation if things go well, because they're handicapped by the PS5 and then the headset, unless they increase their PC capabilities. If they increase their PC capabilities, then it becomes more in line with competing with the Oculus and a HTC Vive and all those kind of headsets, right? But like right now, it's very streamlined towards PlayStation, right? And I don't think a PC gamer is going to choose that over one of the other two. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting, but like I personally don't give a shit because I don't like VR to begin with. So I don't know. But I just think their audience is not going to be huge, and to spend that amount of time on a state of play right before the big gaming news season, when you don't have any price announcements, when you don't have any kind of window announcements or anything, was kind of like, I'd rather see something new y'all are making. You know what I mean?
Rumors are they're supposed to have another state of play sometime this month. So
they may have it at the end of the month, right? And if they do so, maybe that's when we'll see some of the other stuff. But we got
maybe we'll make up some more stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to Mr. Joanna Dark. Shout out to Flush Jackson, who has renewed on becoming a speculator again. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you as always. Shout out to the chat. We got 47 people here right now. Hit the like button, share it out, and tell everybody we're here. Appreciate it. All the support. It means a lot to us and helps us grow. Deccaddo, what's up, man? What's up to Tony Grasso? Hey, it's a Tony. What's up, Relzair? What's up, Alvin? How's it going? Lord Roughness is here as well. RWK88 Stone King, what's going on as well? The Mr. Joanna Dark from Xbox himself. He asked, did we guys hear about the patent that was discovered and how Valve is making a Quest for that competitor VR headset?
A few minutes ago.
That's the future of VR to me. Those standalone devices where you're not tethered to a machine are going to get better and better and better, right, over time. And like 10 years from now, a standalone VR headset, it has mass appeal because you're not limited by, the technology that you're tethered to, right?
Be Ready Player One all over.
But there's also going to be that like big time VR enthusiast that wants the massive power of like, I want to live in this world. I want it to feel real. I want to sleep here. Did y'all know there's like somebody that I saw like on a video that actually sleeps in VR? They like leave the headset on. They have like this little house or whatever, this little apartment, and they go to bed with the VR headset on and sleep in their virtual bed while they're laying in their real bed.
They got problems.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry, he didn't mean to say it out loud.
I've seen that.
It's a sleep mask.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it's like constantly chooses to live their life in that world as opposed to the real world.
So if you have like a house that has like holes in the walls and shit, you just put that on and live in it, and it's like a nice, fancy, smart house. And you never have to see the holes in the wall.
It's like Sword Art Online. If you ever watch that anime, exactly what that is, Sword Art Online. Except for you don't die in virtual reality like that. The anime.
Dr. Dinganut says he drives to work like that. that's dangerous. I advise you not do that. I advise that's not the best idea. Well, let's get into some of these topics. We got a little sidetracked with the whole state of play and VR stuff, but we're going to talk about something that was already alluded to, and that is Square Enix is just skipping out on Xbox with Final Fantasy Remake, and we don't know why. Like, journalists aren't asking the questions. Pong has been very vocal about that. Our good buddy Pong has made some tweets and also talked about it on Living Split Screen and as well as some other on Shop Podcast about why is the journalists and stuff out there not asking the same kind of questions to Square Enix that they would have before with Square, like when Tomb Raider became at a time to Xbox exclusive. And now this is not even what we saw before with images. This was supposed to be a timed exclusive up until like 2021 something. They continued to just not release Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox, period. Now, we can assume that money has changed hands here, and it's basically PlayStation is kind of funding this as an exclusive for their platform and everything. But why is Square making that deal? Do you think it's a good business decision to like limit your audience to pretty much one or two platforms and over a long period of time, especially with the market and the market share kind of changing hands this generation? It's kind of an interesting thing. Like, I don't know, 3-bit, you're a game dev. I want to know what you think. Do you think that's a wise business move of them? Or do you think like, I don't know. I judge Square Enix's business decisions a lot. They still don't seem to make the right decisions at times. But this is very kind of baffling. Why you would cut out a large percentage of your audience.
So do I think it's like a good idea
from
of them
Square
to like limit?
Yeah.
Right now, yes.
Oh, geez, get off the show. All right, what the hell? All right, no, I'm just kidding. Why? No, I'm curious why. That's a very
I mean, I don't agree with it. I think I don't know. I think it's a good decision for them because what they could do later is like let they could have Final Fantasy. They're making like 3 parts, right, for Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's taken like 4 or 5 years to get the second part. 4 years, right, to get the second part out.
So if I was Square Enix, I would be smart. I would just release all of it exclusive on PlayStation, and then bundle it on the Xbox later, and then sell it for like way more, and then that would get extra sales and stuff like that. So, and I feel like that's what they're gonna do is like they have their exclusive deal with PlayStation. They get the money. They get PlayStation's money for the first 3 parts. Wait a little bit, and then release it as a bundle later on the Xbox. And it's all just like
time for another remake.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long time.
15 years. I mean, it's 12 years, 15 years, like for the 3 parts, right?
It's going to be.
Didn't they say this was 4 part? Didn't they come out recently and say this was a 4 part?
Is the prequel? There's like a prequel thing sort of coming out, right?
Core.
Yeah, it's kind of a prequel, but it's not really the same kind of game. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like a PSP or PS Vita.
It's a PSP game.
Crisis Core.
Yeah,
it's with Jackie or whatever.
And a lot of people didn't like it either.
I know, came out. Like with this whole situation, I think Square Enix. Of course, there's the media. Like, the media is very biased towards PlayStation. It's very obvious sometimes. Sometimes it's like too obvious, where it frustrates me. But it's I don't. It's up to Square Enix whether or not they're very money hungry. We've seen how they treat their Western division, and
which is all
have high expectations for
bad decisions ran it along rampant throughout their Western division with the marketing and all the kind of things that they did. They did a lot of timed exclusive deals as well with their Western division games, dating back to the Tomb Raider and all that kind of stuff as well, right? Like, what I'm questioning is the viability of this going forward with Square, keeping this whole like, oh, we're going to release this game on this platform and take this amount of money up front, right? Mm-hmm. But in the long term, for me, it's dumb business, right? Because you have a growing platform on Xbox right now, right? Like, you have a market share that is going close to 50-50 right now globally, right? Between PlayStation and Xbox. Last generation, it was 2-1. Pretty much, right? So it's very, very drastically different. So not only that's just console, right? So then you got to think about like Xbox with the PC. You know, you got the whole cloud situation going with like you got the whole TV applications. You got all this stuff. The Xbox ecosystem is growing larger and larger and larger. And PlayStation's kind of right now just stepping into the PC thing. They're just stepping into like all these different things, right? So they choose to finally release Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 on Steam, but choose not to release it on any other platforms, right? So in doing so, you're kind of like abandoning people from even having a chance to get interested in the brand going forward. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, Final Fantasy is not for you, so we're gonna keep it over here, and over time, what that has is an impact on the brand where people just lose interest in it, right? And you talk about 12 years of not having their biggest releases on your platform. What kind of damage does that do to a brand of people that are invested primarily on the Xbox ecosystem? Now you can say, hey, we'll just go get a PlayStation, right? But not everybody is going to be able to afford 2 different ecosystems or 2 different platforms, right? So I don't know. What do you think, Psycho?
The thing that I see is, I remember back in the day on the 360 when we had, Ninja Gaiden. Not Ninja Gaiden. We had games like Mass Effect that was only on Xbox, but then down the road bundled together, like Jasper was saying, possibly what we were getting with Final Fantasy. And that's how they're doing it. They're trying to give money, to Square, and this way they keep it on PlayStation only, and then down the road Square can be like, okay, we'll bundle it all together, the exclusivity deal's done, they can resell it on Xbox. I mean, they wait, what it was, I think was it Mass Effect 3 when it was bundled all together, where PlayStation gamers could finally play it. Maybe this is the same thing happening, but with Final Fantasy VII Remake. So
to me, it's about consistency. Like, it sucks. Like, I get the whole exclusive thing. Like, Sony's being pretty smart by, they have a certain amount of studios. They know they're seeing what Xbox is doing with the amount of studios they have, and what Sony does is like, oh, we don't have to necessarily buy the studios, but we can just buy the rights to it. But to me, the biggest problem isn't that. I think, businesses are going to do what they want, but it's the consistency part where you'll get certain Final Fantasies. You're like, okay, and if you're an Xbox fan and you're like, okay, let me play this Final Fantasy, cool, I'll play the next one. Then all of a sudden the next one isn't available, and you're like, what the heck? And you look where it's available and it's not the Xbox. Like, that's where I kind of have a problem with, like, how you gonna have the prequel to like a Final Fantasy, but not the actual.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, like, you're going into, okay, so you got Final Fantasy 16 is also right now, as we know, like a PlayStation exclusive, and then you also got Final 15 was an Xbox, but 16 Final Fantasy 7 Remake. You got Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2. That's 3 games in a row, right? Big
PlayStation
games.
paid for the Final Fantasy 7 exclusive thing, right? So
it was timed, yeah.
It was timed exclusive. Yeah. So the deal was probably like, hey, we'll pay for your game that everyone's excited about and knows about on this platform to get people to come over to PlayStation, and then you can give Xbox the random games that no one cares about of the Final Fantasies. That's kind of how that works. Like, you obviously want people to jump ship to PlayStation if you sign that deal, so give Xbox just the random ones, and then the good ones keep it on PlayStation.
Right, but that was a time deal though. So like either like PlayStation like gave more money to extend it, and they didn't talk about that, and which I don't blame PlayStation for trying. Like, I can say, like, I just don't think it's the right business decision for Square Enix to take that money up front when you're kind of like not cultivating an audience on a platform that's growing. It's just like, okay, it's like an investment. You know what I mean? Like, okay, oh cool, I'll get like $10 million, sweet, right now. Yeah, that's great. But then, you're pretty much not getting to release your products and have it in front of potentially like 50, 60 million people by the time that that Final Fantasy 7 2 Remake 2 comes out.
Great, this gaming division, their Western division, for what was initially they said it was NFTs. Now they're saying, oh, it wasn't NFTs, but they didn't say what it was for. So I don't know. But they're not. They're business savvy in some ways, but I would say Square is not business savvy in the long run of things. I haven't seen.
But you're still growing the audience by putting the shittier games on.
not really though. Yeah,
the lesser known games. I see that, but what it also is like Square has other RPGs. Like, Final Fantasy used to be amazing, but it's like, now do they still have that formula with Final Fantasy? Do you feel that?
I think Final Fantasy is great. I think it's a fantastic
15
franchise.
Was not great. 15 was
I even like 15.
Well, 15 was the first one that 3-bits played, so
true. I went backwards. I tried out 15 and I was like, okay, that interested me in the other ones, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like me out there that's like,
because you're younger, right?
Now,
younger,
and then let me try out the other ones, but they're kind of.
I remember Final Fantasy 3 on Nintendo, where it started.
Yeah,
and that's where that's where a lot of us were playing from, and then because Final Fantasy was literally on one console. It was on Nintendo. Then it went to Sony.
But that's because Sony's console at the time was really the only thing capable of playing that game with the PS1. You know what I mean? Like, it was not like just exclusive because of like money hatting and stuff back then. It was just like that was what could play it. You know what I mean? Like,
and then as time went on, it was always synonymous with, either whatever console. And right now, we weren't getting on Xbox
But
the
didn't
same
they put out
treatment.
Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox? That's
Yeah.
like another one of their big games, and they put that on
Yeah,
Xbox.
They
day
did,
one,
but
too.
they did it later again. But that's what I'm saying. It's different
many years
now.
later. Yeah,
It,
but
it came out a
it's
couple
not,
years later,
it's
2 years.
different for
right?
us, but not for Sony and Square. They're still in that mindset. Maybe that's what this is still happening.
But like
We don't know.
Psycho, like they're even moving past that now. They're not doing that anymore. That's what I'm getting at. Like they're
Unless
big
they
games,
paid.
and their big games are choosing not to even release them later, right? Because it's been 4 years. Like it'll be 4 years by the time that next game comes out, since Final Fantasy VII Remake hit, right? And
Unless
it would on
Sony
a supposed
paid
one
big
or
money.
2 year deal, right, for timed exclusivity. And like there's still no sign of it here. So like Kingdom Hearts 3 was a deal that came like 2 years after the game came out, I believe, something like that. And it went right into Game Pass when it hit. But it seems like Square's even moving past that, to where they're just like, hey, you know, we're gonna take whatever money we're given for these deals and just fuck the Xbox audience, right? Like, and that's just what it is. I mean, I don't want to say that's like bad business 100% because I don't know their numbers, but to me it seems like it's bad business, right? It just doesn't seem like it would add up.
Well, if they paid to keep the remake exclusive, I'm assuming that Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't probably selling like it is when it came out 4 years ago. So Sony's like, we'll give you $5 million, just keep it exclusive. So they're getting a guaranteed money there when they may not get guaranteed money, you know, if they're still gonna.
I mean, Xbox is about to literally do the same thing, and that's what Tony was saying is kind of true. But like he said, PlayStation better tread lightly with holding third party down.
Yeah.
But also, I don't agree with that because, well, Xbox, while that yes, they definitely can. They have the freaking you know, Thanos has all those freaking stones, and Xbox has a lot of studios, and they could definitely, if they really wanted to. They could, but they're not going to. Their whole motto is games like Minecraft will, you know, every time they release a Minecraft game, you could assume that's going to be multi-plat. Call of Duty most likely, but their other games like Doom, they're probably going to do the same thing. They're going to make it exclusive. I'm talking about like as Final Fantasy. They're probably going to make those games exclusive.
I'm thinking they're going to shift now. 3-bit. I think they're going to shift to the multi, because of this whole Activision Blizzard deal. It's a big deal. That's changing things for the company. The franchises that have had big time existing user bases across multiple platforms. I think they're going to continue to release those on multiple platforms.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Now, we'll see. I just wanted to say that this was happening. The PlayStation and, you know, the Square games keeping them off Xbox was prior to Game Pass. So don't use Game Pass as a fucking
well, Kingdom Hearts, Dragon Quest both came to Game Pass later. Also, right?
Yes, they did later, but it wasn't day and date. It wasn't like, so like, for whatever reason, Square doesn't put their games right away on Xbox. They just haven't done that since ever.
They do their small games. They do like Diofield Chronicles. We're getting Crisis Core, right? But not like any of the big ones, right?
The popular titles do not come. But that's the thing. That's why is this happening with the big titles only, but nothing on the smaller titles? The smaller titles can come right away.
Because PlayStation doesn't give a shit about paying them for the smaller titles. Like PlayStation's only going to give them that money for like the ones that are going to make an impact to bring people to their ecosystem.
Yeah, that's
right?
like they're getting KOTOR remake,
right?
Exclusive.
I don't know if I agree. I'm thinking I was just thinking
that's the
about
whole part of the deal, though, is to get the big ones to get people over.
I think certain games will definitely stay exclusive, or some games will go multi-plat, but I don't know. Games like Hellblade is like the example, and I think a lot more games are about to be the example. Like I think that's the only recent example we have of a game that used to be multi-plat, and now it's exclusive. But with the whole Activision deal, that makes sense to me of why they would go multi-platform, because they're trying to appease different people. But if you guys think that like the next Crash Bandicoot is gonna be multiplayer? I guess that's like a family game, but do you guys think
yes,
any other game at Activision Blizzard besides Call of Duty, Overwatch,
Any game
and
that's a
Diablo?
known
I think some of
franchise.
them will. It'll be like a hand-picked type of thing. So if they actually do make, like, let's say another True Crimes, let's say for example, even though that was multi-plat prior,
that didn't have a
because it
huge
hasn't been
audience
in
either.
rotation,
Yeah.
because it hasn't been in rotation in a very long time, it may very well be exclusive.
Any
Crash
big known
Bandicoot,
game.
I think they're going to look at it as like, for any of those that aren't going to be exclusive to Xbox, they'll be day and date and Game Pass, which I still kind of have some questions on that whole Game Pass thing with Activision Blizzard, because they'll be under Microsoft and not Xbox. Like, technically Bethesda is its own standalone, but it falls under Xbox. But Activision will fall under Microsoft Gaming, which is not Xbox. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. But I do think any of the old IPs that haven't been in circulation for a good long time will probably come exclusive. And if there's enough outcry in the Twitterverse and other social media, you may see them come over to be multiplat, like the Tony Hawk thing that they were talking about
from
earlier
Sony's
today.
philosophy. It's jarring sometimes.
Well, like a lot of this has to do with what they may have to concede with the FTC and all that kind of stuff, right? It's not necessarily because that's what their number one choice is, but they knew what the challenges were going to be when they bought Activision Blizzard, right? They knew that this stuff was going to exist. That's why they got out in front of it and said, Call of Duty, we're going to keep releasing it on multiple platforms, like 2 days after
that game makes $30 billion.
Right. Well, that too, but like right away. And then Sony was like, we're really like, was putting stuff out there, trying to be like, we hope that they abide by their agreements and all this kind of stuff.
They only really
right?
said that with Call of Duty. They never really said that with anything else.
But there's been reports and like speculation about one of the concessions, one of the big sticking points from the FTC would be that, and worded as such, that games that have large followings or user bases would continue to stay multi-platform. Now, if you agree to that, where does that stop? Right? Does that only exist with Activision Blizzard?
Making a new, that's so weird. You could argue that making a new IP or a new game in that same IP they don't have any users for it, so make it exclusive.
To your question, 3-bit, the point of making that deal is Game Pass.
I know, I said Game Pass, right? But that's still crazy.
I mean, Call of Duty alone is going to bring so many people to Game Pass, right? Like just that franchise alone will bring a lot of people to Game Pass. But then you also have all of the Blizzard stuff. You're going to have like a StarCraft 3 come out, and it's going to be in Game Pass Day 1. Not only Game Pass Day 1, PC Game Pass Day 1. You're going to have Overwatch stuff come into Game Pass. You're going to have like the
free to play. So.
I know, but the Riot Games thing they just did with PC Game Pass, where you get all the skins and all that kind of stuff, right, for PC Game Pass. You're going to be able to potentially do things like that with things like Overwatch. You're going to be able to do all of these different things.
I think with Deathloop, right? We had a bunch of games that they bought with Bethesda, like Deathloop, that had to go multi-plat and other games. I think unless there's some other information out there I'm not seeing, it's like whatever games that are within the range of when they purchased the company can go multi-plat. But after like all those games go into circulation, they release, everything else is fair game. So future Diablos, future Overwatch,
maybe
I feel like those could be exclusive. I mean, those games are about to come out, but I mean, like games after that.
But I mean, PlayStation is also putting their games on Xbox now with MLB. We saw that, and also Bungie. Their games are going to be coming to Xbox still. So
and that was a new acquisition.
It's not even just Xbox putting their games on competitor's platform. PlayStation is also doing it now.
PlayStation say they're going multi-platform, and like their acquisitions, like you're gonna have their legacy titles. Like I think a lot of those stay exclusive.
Like obviously, The Last of Us.
Yeah, you can have Last of Us, God of War, and stuff, but they're gonna have a lot of games I think that are gonna end up going different places because of like the Bungie acquisition alone. They already said it on their website. They're like, yes, our new IP, our new game that is not released yet, will be released on multiple platforms because they want to keep their communities, right? I think the same thing's going to happen with Xbox, except with certain games. I think like the single player based games as well, like single player story focused games that are new IP will be stuff that's like, okay, selling points for the ecosystem and stuff. You can only play here But like other things that are like multiplayer focused, cross play, cross platform type situations, like big games, you're gonna have a lot of things kind of crossing over. It's kind of getting into that new
games like
wave
Elder Scroll are gonna be exclusive. So I'm just trying to figure out where the freaking line.
I'm wondering Elder Scrolls
Like,
6 now maybe go multiplat. I honestly believe it's a possibility. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not.
Yeah, I guess
I'm
it's
not
a different
sold on that.
industry now.
Well, Starfield is exclusive. It's a new IP, right?
Yeah.
Now we'll see what the FTC concessions that the demand are and what the language is on that, right? Like if they can have Elder Scrolls 6 as an exclusive, I think they will. But at that point, when you already have Activision Blizzard and you start having so many different games come out on so many different platforms, at that point, what does it fucking matter? What's on Xbox only and what's not? If you have so many that aren't, you know. And
so you're thinking
I think it's
this
changing their
FTC
business
deal with Activision Blizzard is affecting their other company because these are two different.
Oh, it's a $70 billion franchise. Yeah, acquisition.
I mean, it can affect it, but I'm of the belief it probably won't. Like, I think it'll be more of their picking and choosing. I think the FTC isn't going to worry about getting into the nit and gritty of the business end of things. I think, and the FTC kind of stubbed their toe on the whole worker force stuff, whether it be unions, whether it be accountability and things like that. So as far as concessions, I don't think they're going to really stick their nose into what's exclusive, where this game goes, where that game goes. I think as long as they can, come across as being able to, not really control, but to keep these big companies honest by having their employees be accountable and so forth, I think that will be the main concession related stuff. And like we've talked about, Microsoft has already gotten way ahead of that with the the neutrality for like unions and all that stuff. So I think Bethesda stuff, Phil and the rest of the team will decide, hey, this one probably should stay Xbox. This one could go everywhere, and they'll continue to make those decisions, depending on, what makes the best case for whatever they're looking to do.
Yeah, I sometimes have to remind myself. Sorry, Sega, you got it.
No, I was just gonna say, anything Bethesda is going to stay exclusive to Xbox. Phil said it. Anywhere that is Game Pass is played, that's where it's going to be. They're not going to change it. FTC is not going to go and scrutinize every little thing with Bethesda because of this Activision. Activision is a whole different monster. We might see things that what we would think that will be exclusive could be multi-plat still. We don't know until the deal is done and the dust is settled.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna mess with Bethesda, and I don't see them changing languages now just because of what's happening.
Here's the thing.
It's not the FTC thing. It's Xbox making that decision, not the FTC.
Right. It's because their business model at that point would have
with Bethesda though.
But why not?
Because Xbox is trying to get more users and more money. That's the reason they would make that decision. It's not
then
about
you're
FTC.
going to sit there and lie to everybody.
But that was before they did the Activision Blizzard deal. Those statements regarding Bethesda all were made
at the round table was made after the deal.
Yes, but it was before Activision Blizzard was announced.
That's
right?
Activision Blizzard, not Bethesda.
Yes,
Bethesda
but when you make
but Elder Scrolls should not be coming a multiplayer. Should not be a topic.
It could be. I mean, we don't know. It could be. Like, here's the thing. Like,
Phil Spencer said it's not. That's how we know.
He did not say that. No, he never came.
He said anywhere where Game Pass is played.
That's what he said. Yes. But look at what happened since then, right? Since then, they went out and acquired Activision Blizzard, which is a $70 billion company. Yes. And to think that's not going to potentially have an impact on the business model that Xbox could potentially have in the future, that's where I'm thinking. Okay. They're going to make the concession with Call of Duty, right? And then you already got this community that's shared with Elder Scrolls Online right now. Okay, so you have a user base on PlayStation that is very large that plays Elder Scrolls, right? So what would make that audience different than a Call of Duty audience, right? To
because
release
it's the
a
same
new
thing what Sony's trying to do with Final Fantasy with Xbox.
But that's not Xbox's MO. That's not Xbox's MO, right? Like here, I'm gonna get to this $10 super chat right from Mr. Joanna Dark. Appreciate you very much. He says, I also feel it's wrong that people say stop crying and get a PlayStation. That is always the narrative. Why is that always the answer? Yet when the foot is on the other end, Xbox doing it is bad. I think that Xbox is not necessarily like going. It's not a bad thing if they do exclusives. I'm not saying that, right? I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that, or I'm not saying whatever. They own the IPs or whatever they're purchasing. What I'm saying is that now looking ahead, right, into the future after the Activision Blizzard deal goes through, what will the MO be for their titles that already have large fan bases on all platforms, right?
Activision is a different outcome because of how big Call of Duty is.
We're in the middle of it's an industry change. Like last console generation, it was about putting stuff on PC. This generation is about multi-plats.
As big as
and PlayStation is like 5 to 10 years behind. Xbox is just looking forward and is going to start initiative to put stuff on other platforms, so they get more money. This is how they grow.
Elder Scrolls is not as big as Call of Duty, but it's one of the biggest franchises out there. Like it's one of the biggest RPGs.
That's is why you want people to come to your Game Pass. You want to grow.
But you're still going to have that game in Game Pass day one, so that's still going to be a selling point, right?
There are some things like the Bethesda titles being exclusive. That's how you really grow that market if you want. Call of Duty is
you grow the market by saying it's $10 or $50 cheaper.
That's how you expand with Call of Duty. So other like PlayStation, if they ever decide to put it on Switch, but they could do it multi-plat with a title that reaches so many people like Call of Duty, and then bring them into Game Pass saying, but we have exclusive. Here's Bethesda games. And that's how you keep people coming. Like, okay, we got Bethesda exclusive. Okay, Call of Duty could be multi-plat. Who gives? I'm like, are you going to be like, oh, it should be multi-plat or exclusive? Not so much.
I agree with both of you guys. I think there's a business model where there is with there is a good
Halo
thing.
And Forza and Perfect Dark are already known as Xbox franchises. That's why they're not on PlayStation.
I think games being exclusive does have value. I do think you can actually bring people to your platform by having a game exclusive, but I also think the way Xbox is thinking isn't the traditional line of thinking that's been happening for generations. Like the traditional model that PlayStation is
going away,
basically following is sort of going away. So I do think there are going to be a lot of franchises that are exclusive. I'm still in that mindset, but I also think I honestly think the Activision thing is so separate from the Blizzard or from Bethesda. I still think a lot of Bethesda games are going to be exclusive. That's just my opinion. Activision, I have no idea because they're such a big company. It's hard for me to realize what's going to be exclusive, especially since it hasn't been closed yet. I feel like there's certain things they want to say, but they're dancing around it because they can't say it legally right now. Yes. I think once the deal goes through, we'll have more of a clear answer. But for the most part, it seems to me like, especially how they're phrasing a lot of future Bethesda titles like Redfall. Now that's exclusive, and Hellblade. Now that's exclusive when they bought Obsidian.
But those are new. So I mean, Redfall's new IP too, though, right? Like,
true. But Hellblade is not.
We're getting a mixture of the new IPs. Will be known as Xbox franchises. The stuff that's already been out on other platforms will be just.
And you got to think too, Hellblade 2 has been in development for what, like 4 or 5 years now, probably, right? So like, as soon as they made that acquisition, like what I'm saying is, with the Activision Blizzard
Outer Worlds
deal,
2 is exclusive. That's what I mean, though. Like any deal that they finish up all those contracts.
Maybe it won't be. Who knows?
They're exclusive.
Like I don't know. Like they could change that even. Like
I see. Why are we even playing with that notion of things possibly going multi-plat?
Because the Activision Blizzard deal could change the future of the company. Like, we don't know. That's why we're talking about it.
For Activision games, I don't think.
But it could have an effect on the entire ecosystem.
If they change their mind and take back everything that they said, that what makes who Xbox is, then I mean, really, this is why go put yourself through all that?
Because if it has an in-game store, Xbox is still making money on the other end.
Yeah.
Well, here's I have a like an oddball question, and I've heard this be
Jasper. That's
thrown out there sometimes. What if something like Sea of Thieves was to go multi-plat?
That would be fine with it. Game, I don't care. You know, like
that's a games of a service.
Yeah,
that is. You would almost expect be multiplat. Games of service like Elder Scrolls Online will be multiplat 100% because that is the games of a service. But dedicated single player stories and other things like Elder Scrolls and Doom and games like that within Bethesda and other studios are going to stay exclusive.
Yeah,
we don't know that for sure.
That's a boat I'm in, but I also know like
Game Pass.
I don't know.
Well, Game Pass is the Xbox exclusive. Period.
Right. That is Xbox. Xbox right now. That is their messaging. Anywhere Game Pass is, where you're gonna play these games exclusively.
Yeah, but
they said that before the Activision Blizzard deal is announced. They can't say that with Call of Duty when you're going to release Call of Duty on other platforms. You can't say that anymore because Call of Duty will be
a whole different thing.
But what I'm saying,
so much. That market is so huge, you can't close it off like that.
My point is like, so if you make that decision for one title, right?
For one title,
but why do you cut it off at that point then, right?
I mean, they did the same thing in Minecraft. I think it's just it's that situation. You have to sort of take it by situation. Like Minecraft, no one really questions like, oh yeah, that every time they release a Minecraft title, that's going on other platforms just because of how big it's the biggest. I think it's the biggest game of all time.
If it was Minecraft. Halo, people would be screaming, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't care. Like I would be like, cool. Like more people get to play Halo. You know what I mean? But like,
Halo going on other platforms.
For me, I get it in Game Pass, so it doesn't matter. Like I just want to save money.
Yeah.
You know.
For Elder Scrolls, like going back to Psycho, I think it's just like if they win either way, if they put it on Game Pass, they know that they get people there, and if they go on PlayStation, they get a win there because they're paying $70 for that game, and then it's going to try to convert PlayStation users over to Xbox and be like, hey, you can get it cheaper, just $1 for a month.
And you're going to have more PlayStation games going on Xbox by the time Elder Scrolls 6 releases as well. You'll have more games that'll say PlayStation Studios.
That is not 100%.
Yes, Destiny.
Yeah, Bungie said that.
Yeah,
Bungie said wait. Let me just be Uncle Phil for a second.
And MLB.
If you are Phil Spencer, and you're like your main mission is to get people into Game Pass. Let's just take Call of Duty out of the equation. You can't really, I mean, you can put that in the Game Pass, but if your main mission as Phil Spencer is to put games into Game Pass, then wouldn't it make more sense to have like exclusive content or try to bring people into Game Pass by being exclusive as opposed to putting it on PlayStation where they have their own version of Game Pass? Like, wouldn't it make more sense to have that exclusive content so you could push Game Pass rather than like yes, you can it makes sense like put things multi-plat like Call of Duty whatever, but if you want people to come into Game Pass and that's your main prerogative, then it does make sense to have some things exclusive. Like I get that's why I say I get both your arguments. Like some games a mixture of multi-plat.
Yeah, like you're gonna see Halo, you're gonna see like Forza Motorsport, you're gonna see Fable,
Elder Scrolls,
Perfect Dark, Elder Scrolls. We don't know that yet. We'll see. But these other games, I think
you got to build a brand loyalty. That's another thing, though. You still have to build brand loyalty. With Xbox,
Xbox isn't already doing that with Game Pass, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing for Xbox is Game Pass. It's Game Pass. They're past the box, you know.
But right now they're not looking past the box. Until then,
yeah, they are.
Then
they're putting everything on PC.
PC,
they've
cloud,
been putting stuff on PC forever. But I'm just saying that the ecosystem right now is Xbox consoles, tablets on wherever Game Pass is, and PC. That's right now. That is the ecosystem of Xbox.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not just isolated to a box anymore, right?
But they still need to build a brand loyalty and keep things games exclusive.
But think about it for like 5 years in the future is when actually Elder Scrolls 6 is going to come out, right? Not to tomorrow, not next year, not 2024.
The brand is Game Pass now. That's like that's what they're moving to. Is the brand is going to be like Game Pass, not just like buy a console.
The point,
I don't see
the point of the box, Chipmunk, is like that's where you choose to play because you like the box, right? Because you like the box. The box sells itself because it's a great experience, right? But if you choose to play on a PC, you can play on a PC, or if you choose to play on the cloud services on your Samsung TV, you can do that. But if you want the full-on experience of playing on a console with everything integrated and performing with as 100% optimized for that box, that's the point of a box. That's always been the point of the box, and that's what Xbox is selling you, and that's what PlayStation's
name to Microsoft Gaming.
That's what PlayStation's going to be selling you as well. That's their end goal as well, right? But they're just starting that. They're 7 years behind. They're 7 years behind of where Xbox was when they started this journey, right? So it's hard for people to adjust into this new world of gaming where everything's going to be in the cloud and PC and stuff. But like in 6 years, you don't even necessarily need to own a box because how much better will the cloud be?
I get that, but this all started that that Bethesda games might not be exclusive anymore. That's what this argument started. And right now we don't know, so we can't put out there that this is how it's going to be. That's not where
I think
it's
all
going.
Bethesda games will be exclusive
Right now,
as much as
anywhere
possible.
that Game Cloud is.
Yeah,
unless it's Elder Scrolls.
I'm just saying. Here's the thing. It very well could be. What I'm saying is it's not a guarantee, right? And anybody thinking that's a guarantee right now, like I wouldn't say it's a guarantee for the future, right? Like these brands that are synonymous with being multi-platform could very well end up going to other devices across the board in the future because of the Activision Blizzard deal. We do not know anything right now until they tell us in the future, right? And if people are saying like, I see you're saying like, well, you're saying I'm only saying they are a publisher, so that's all they. Primarily, they're a publisher that also will have a badass device that you can buy to release on. Like, I want Sega to release a new fucking console because it'd be cool, right? Like, I would buy it if they released it a Dreamcast 3, but they're a gaming publisher, right? They pretty much only release games multi-plat. There will still be Xbox exclusives on the Xbox ecosystem, and Game Pass in and of itself is worthwhile if you prefer to play on a console to get an Xbox just for Game Pass, right? They have already said they are going to continue making hardware. They're not out of the hardware game. But saying you're moving past that doesn't say you're excluding that. It's just saying it's just a piece of the puzzle now. Xbox is more than just an Xbox now. It's Xbox, X Cloud, right? It's PC. It's more than just one piece of the puzzle. Like as a diehard
TVs.
As a TVs. I also think I think about all your different points, and I agree with like everybody, which is weird because you're kind of saying different things, but also the same thing. But the PC market, the mobile market alone, is like way more than PlayStation's market. So I'm also thinking about that as well. Like the mobile market alone is like, was it like 80 billion?
We're just adding another layer onto the cake that already exists of having exclusives. That's all
we're
doing.
They're going to have exclusives. Like what Matt just said is true. They're going to have exclusives.
I don't see PlayStation. I don't
Activision, things with Activision. What Matt is saying, I do agree. Like it's sort of unclear with Activision because they are abiding by a lot of rules. It's a huge. I sort of see the Activision deal as a big Minecraft. It's
because they signed a Samsung partnership for the first little bit.
But look 3 years past when you did the Activision Blizzard deal, right? Activision Blizzard is now part of Xbox ecosystem. You're 3 years into it. You're releasing these games. Everything is part of the Xbox ecosystem. Okay, so now you're choosing to release these ones because of the FTC, whatever, multi-plat. But then other games that also have large audiences, you're not doing that just because you just don't want to, because it's cool just to have it as an exclusive when you could be potentially making even more money. Like I don't necessarily when you're not focused on the box and you're focused on Game Pass, I don't necessarily see like having to move hardware as
but
the
you
focal
also
point.
Don't need to give away all your exclusives just because.
But they got
Game Pass
plenty
exists.
more that they are the legacy games.
So
right?
let Call of Duty be multiplat and everything else stay exclusive? Why is that so hard?
But why would you just limit to Call of Duty? Why is that so hard?
Because Call of Duty is such a big game that.
But so is Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls Skyrim was like, dude, it's like been remade like four times.
Not
it's
played
360,
like
Xbox One.
It's Skyrim's not played on MLB.
Skyrim's played more than MLB.
Too big for Call of Duty.
It's like 30 million. It's over like 30 million in sales, I think. 30 plus million in sales for Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. I think Elder Scrolls are gonna be exclusive, but again, I see Activision and Blizzard like as a separate like Minecraft sort of situation. But I think everything's coming from ZeniMax. That's just me personally. I think everything is gonna be exclusive. I think Elder Scrolls is gonna be exclusive. I've already seen articles on it. I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but I already seen articles saying like, yes, Elder Scrolls is gonna be exclusive. I mean, we know Starfield is exclusive. That's like a stepping stone for them. I think every game that they can make exclusive will be exclusive, and I think games that don't really make sense for it to be exclusive, like Call of Duty, where they sort of treat it like a Minecraft. Like Minecraft is one of the biggest selling games of all time, and Call of Duty is always in that list. So that makes sense. But every game that's about to be released, that's why I see it sort of as batches. Like every game that when they buy Activision Blizzard, when it comes out, those games will be multiplat. But the future is uncertain, and they could make those games exclusive if they want it. I don't know. Like, I'm just judging that based on what they purchased so far. Mm-hmm. They purchased Obsidian. Outer Worlds 2 is now exclusive when the first one wasn't. Hellblade, Ninja Theory. The first one wasn't exclusive. Second one is. And I'm just sort of judging it on that. If they can make it exclusive, most likely they will. But I also see the value in what Mav is saying, and where we can't really think about it as a traditional thing anymore. Like they are Game Pass, so they're thinking about it as like a ecosystem and getting people into it. And what Mav was saying is like, you don't really need a box anymore. So some of the rules that we would have in the past about like you have to buy an Xbox to play Xbox games, that's not necessarily
they're not
true
competing just against
anymore.
PlayStation. They're competing against Amazon now and Apple and stuff. You know what I mean? Like PlayStation, it sucks with that their money hiding these franchises, right? And I get it. I want to play Final Fantasy on my Xbox as well, right? I think it's a horrible business decision from Square Enix. I think they're dumb as hell for doing that in the long term of things, because you're pretty much abandoning like an audience and not cultivating on that platform that is growing massively, right? The Xbox ecosystem is growing exponentially right now, right? Like huge. And you're choosing not to cultivate that audience with your biggest franchises for a little bit of money up front, when in long term you could be making 10 time fold in the long scheme of things by cultivating an audience on an ecosystem that's growing. It's just bad business sense. Like that's why I'm critical of Final Fantasy. I'm not critical of Sony for trying like that. Of course, hey, let's try and get exclusives, because Sony still back 7 years ago in the past a little bit, and there's just now stepping foot into this, and they're doing those deals now. As an Xbox user, if I only had an Xbox, I would be like, that fucking sucks, because I really want to play that Final Fantasy game. So then what do you want to do? Like, I want to take shit away from them to get them back, those motherfuckers. I hate you for doing all this to me over these years. You keep taking these fucking games away from me. I want to play Final Fantasy on my Xbox. Damn it. Now I'm going to have to go try to find a way to get a PlayStation, or just say I don't get to play the game. I get it. It sucks. But like, I don't get why like people get like emotional or something about the potential of a Xbox exclusive game going multi-platform when you get to get it in Game Pass anyway. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like I don't give a shit. I want I want exclusivity to end, period. If somebody asked me on a show, is like, what's number one thing I'd want for like gaming? I don't want exclusives anymore. I want everything to be on every platform, so I can choose the device I want to play it on. Like, I would rather play Mario on my fucking Xbox because I love my Xbox. I buy the Xbox console because it's a badass box, right? Like, I fucking like the experience on it. I wish I could play God of War on it if I liked God of War, or like Uncharted, or, you know what I mean? Like, because that's the best place to play for me. You know what I mean? Final Fantasy, all that stuff. I don't think exclusivity like is the future of gaming. I think in the long term, as a cloud and all this stuff, it's going to be more of like what services are the best and which has more in their services to offer, right? Whereas okay, you may have to like buy it $60, $70 on this box or this device, but on this one, it's in their service subscription, right? And like 6, 7 years from now, 10 years from now, that may be the future that we look at. And I think for Xbox, potentially the Activision Blizzard deal may be accelerating things faster than people are comfortable with to have these kind of conversations, right? Like, and I think it's getting a little bit emotional with that kind of stuff. It ain't
there yet. That's what I'm saying. It ain't there yet, brother.
So, Matt, do you think there's still a lot of value, in having exclusives?
Yes.
Currently, yes, yeah.
And what ways do you see?
We're not saying get rid of exclusives. Here. We're just saying.
I know. I'm being the was it?
Yeah, as a business, right? Yeah, definitely. Like I think being cutthroat and if you were to buy everything, gaming was only exclusive to your platform. Nobody can buy anything else anywhere else. Fucking of course, you know what I mean.
All I'm saying is you can't say that Bethesda games are going to stay on wherever Xbox Game Pass is going to be and then go back against that word. That's not a good look.
But he didn't ever say 100% it will never be on other platforms, though, either, because nobody knows what the future is. He would not have lied with that statement.
He said it's only where you can play Xbox Game Pass.
Okay,
here's his word. That's what he said.
Here's how you get it both ways. You make new IPs exclusive. So you make a brand for your console. So they come over here, like, you can only play this game over here. But games that are already known, like Elder Scrolls,
which is what they just recently said, actually, in a statement. They said that in a statement. They said games that have audiences.
You get the best of both worlds.
You're thinking of the Bethesda statements. They've made statements since then, since the Activision Blizzard deal, to the public, actually, like, and it says things like games that have audiences are going to remain multi-platform. It's very different than the language we had back with Bethesda. Right.
I don't think Xbox will go back on what they said about Bethesda games. That's just me. I could be wrong, and I'll take the L when that day comes. But I'm just saying, I don't see it happen. I don't see it happening. That's all.
I just wouldn't guarantee it. Yeah.
Were those statements pertaining to just Activision? Because I don't see them doing that either.
Well, but the thing is, all right, so right now it is, right? But after Activision Blizzard becomes part of the ecosystem and stuff, then at that point, where do you separate it? Like, okay, we're going to pick and choose when everything's under the umbrella of Xbox. Like, just because this was part of the deal and we had to concede that, at that point, you're already accepting a new business model, right? You're accepting this model with Activision Blizzard games, and it could go into other franchises as well that have also been known to have other user bases, existing large user bases on other platforms as well. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying I wouldn't count it out, right? I wouldn't count it out. And I think a lot of people are already counting it out. I'm just saying this Activision Blizzard deal may change some things in the future with some of their decision making on what games go multi-plat and not. I think it has sped up the timeline a little bit, but I could be wrong. They could decide, hey, exclusive.
And it's not like
I'm very
one
open
studio making a game a year. Like, you're gonna have 40 studios or something.
Right. This fucking Game Pass is going to be insane, guys. Like, doesn't it fucking matter if Elder Scrolls is exclusive or not when you have almost a big AAA game a month releasing into your service that you're paying $15-$20 for by that time, maybe more. Who knows exactly what it's going to be, but at that point, that's the exclusive is Game Pass in of itself, right? And they don't care whether you play it on a box or a PC or on a phone or a TV. They just want you to subscribe to that
shit.
Be able
to play on your smart fridge in like 5
and guess
years.
what? They're going to keep making the box.
That could very well be the
not 15, 15 years,
15 years,
maybe 10.
It could be where 15 years. That's where it could be. But right now, you got to build up your user base. And I'm just saying, if they come back and they say, "Oh, Bethesda games are now going to other platforms," to me as a gamer, you said it wouldn't.
They didn't say that.
Game Pass is only where Game Pass is played.
They didn't guarantee that it wouldn't. I'm just saying they never come out and said it will not be on other platforms. Like they did say that. I know. Remember the statement you're talking about. And that was very well telling us that, but they use that language on purpose. That way they can get around it in the future without having to have lied to the audience.
You come off as being that they're not being honest. And what else are they lying about? 10 years,
no one's going to remember that statement.
It doesn't. 10 years, nobody's going to give a shit. Like, come on, really? Jasper. You think we're going to be arguing about boxes in 10 years? Like, nobody's going to care about boxes. Like, you're going to have a box if you want to play on a box. It's like PC. You know what I mean? Like, at that point.
If I was in a business, like a meeting room, I would have to see what benefits Game Pass. If it benefits Game Pass putting it on other platforms by saying like, hey, you're paying it for it $70 on PlayStation, over here it's the price of a subscription, then do it. But if you think that it would be you would get more subscribers by having that, like, hey, we're not even going to put it on PlayStation since our competitors are Amazon, Google. They're not even in the conversation. Let's build up our ecosystems of Xbox, PC, and mobile. And then that way, people are within that ecosystem. We're pretty much paying ourselves at that moment. Then we could pretty much say, screw you, PlayStation, unless they make a deal with PlayStation where they can put Game Pass on PlayStation. There's a lot of different ways it can go. I'm not in any other category because these companies are, they have a roadmap and they have the money and they have the decisions of what they're going to do. I can see it both ways. Right now, I think all Bethesda games are going to be exclusive. I think for the foreseeable future, all Activision games are going to be multi-plat.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like what Mav is saying, I don't want to speak for you, but Activision games are huge. So yes, that can actually change their roadmap of what they plan to do.
I think the next Bethesda game that has a known franchise coming out anytime soon is Wolfenstein 3. So that will be, I think, the test case for that.
I think that's going to be exclusive.
There's going to be a couple test games, or there's going to be a couple test cases to see which one of us will be correcto.
Yeah.
I think Elder Scrolls is going to be a big one.
That's like 6 years away.
The reason I'm saying Elder Scrolls is because that's like 5 years away.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's exclusive, then that'll be a test case where
anything coming out between now and Elder Scrolls does not fucking count for my argument here. Okay, I'm just saying because I'm looking to the future, not like the next few years. The games has already been in development that they've already went under with this ideas of with Bethesda and everything they put out there. Once the Activision Blizzard deal goes through, a few years after that, I'm just saying you might be seeing some different stuff. And that's not just from Xbox, it's from PlayStation as well, right? I think the whole industry is changing. And I see people saying 2030, that's not that far away. It's eight years away, right? Think about this. Think 10 years back, okay? Everybody think back to what you were doing in 2012, right? 10 years is not that.
There was no Xbox games on PC, really.
No Xbox games on PC. The cloud was just used for saving.
You weren't playing on your phone.
Yeah, you were only using the cloud to save game files, and you had to do that manually or set it up manually, and you only had a limited amount of space, right? The cloud was not. Now PlayStation still uses it that way. They're like 8 years behind, like I said, but. That's all the cloud was. Now look at this. We're playing freaking games on our phone at like high fidelity, right? We're like Xbox games are releasing on PC day one. Now PlayStation's putting their games on PC as well. And this is all within a 10-year span, right?
Yeah.
Now look into 10 years what the cloud's going to be then. And think about what it's going to be.
That could be 100%.
That's what we're talking.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about next year. We're not talking about 2 years from now. We're talking about.
But the way you guys came off sounded like right now they're going to look at Bethesda games.
Well, we were talking about Elder Scrolls 6.
Elder Scrolls 6 is 5 years away, bro.
Yeah, 5. I'm telling you guys that shit. Those games, they're going to probably stay multiplayer or exclusive.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. No,
I think Doom is exclusive. I think Wolfenstein. I think all those are exclusive.
Wolfenstein, I'm like 70-30, like 70% is going to be exclusive, but like 30% it might be multiplat. For Hellblade and Outer Worlds, like people are saying, those games are still new and haven't grown that big of an audience, so Xbox can kind of manipulate those into becoming an Xbox known franchise.
What about Outer Worlds? Does that not convince you guys? or like Hellblade.
No, it's still a young franchise. They can manipulate it becoming an Xbox.
And those games were announced before Activision Blizzard was even a dream of being able to acquire them. That the Activision Blizzard deal came together within about a month period.
I'm trying to think about other franchises that I can't think. I mean, like there's Hellblade, there's Outer Worlds 2. Those are franchises that was a franchise and now it's exclusive. I'm trying to think of
I wouldn't count anything out, but what I'm saying is like I would, if I was to bet money, I would say Outer Worlds 2 is probably exclusive, right? Yeah. But I would bet money. I would bet money right now that Elder Scrolls 6 will not be.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
Interesting.
I don't agree.
Write this down in 7 years or whatever. Come back and be like,
yeah,
we were right. You were right.
I'm gonna remember this.
So if I'm right, then what? You're gonna say sorry for being.
Yeah, I'll say sorry 7 years from now.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm sorry for disagreeing with you in 7 years.
I remember in episode 25.
You should.
I should.
Why are we even talking about 10 years in the future? There won't be an Xbox or PlayStation. It'll just be Google and Amazon.
This is fun speculation, man. This is what we're doing.
We'll all be playing in the cloud.
The Google series. Yeah.
The
Google series
station.
Q or
no,
G.
Google's, I think, done with the game market.
Shout out to Lord Roughness with the £5 super chat. Says casuals go towards the value option, so they end up buying only an Xbox with Game Pass and never spend another $500 just to get Final Fantasy. Yeah, a lot of people are going to miss out on getting that damn game. Both of them, not just Final Fantasy VII Remake, but the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and also Final Fantasy 16. That's 3 massive games in a row that you were keeping off of the Xbox ecosystem. Dumbass decision from Square Enix, in my opinion. I don't know how you plan to cultivate an audience on a huge ecosystem that we all agree is growing massively because of Game Pass and because everything that Xbox is doing. Also, this Activision Blizzard thing is going to continue to grow that audience even more and more and more, and you're just keeping your biggest shit off the platform for a little bit of money up front. Now, it may be a lot of money, like to us, but long term, for what it could mean for Square Enix, it's just a boneheaded decision, man. I just don't understand their business sense with this, because it's like, hey, we're gonna it's a Square Enix. It's not like a fucking like indie game developer, or like a small publisher that really needs that money to be able to make a game, right? But this has been Square Enix's MO of like, hey, we're going to pick and choose what platforms to release on and take the deals. We're going to announce a game, then later take a deal from this publisher, and this publisher, or whatever, and we're going to use that and release it on that platform only. That's what Square's MO is, except for their smaller shit, which they release everywhere, right? But like, it's not a good business. It doesn't help you grow your brands. Like, Final Fantasy is not as strong of a name today as it was 10 years ago, in my personal opinion. Right?
In the States, yeah.
In the States.
I fear the day Xbox becomes, like, stops being the nice guy, because that's a scary day for a lot of platforms. They'll never be that company, but I'm just saying, like, PlayStation could get away with quite a bit, and the media won't say anything about it, especially in this situation. Like, oh yeah, it's expected. But when Xbox does, it's like, oh, how dare you? And then you have Xbox executives having to apologize, like with almost all these cases. Like with Hideo Kojima, he had to come out and be like, hey, we're still working with PlayStation, calm down, Or with the whole Tomb Raider debacle, where they had to pretty much apologize because people were sending them death threats and all that. I think this is I agree. I think it's kind of crappy, but it's gonna keep happening. So I don't really know what to do.
It's gonna keep happening until they go to business or get acquired by PlayStation. Right. That's probably what's gonna end up happening.
I keep trying to get into the Final Fantasy franchise, but every time I'm like, oh yeah, let me try to jump in, and I find out the game's not even on PlayStation. Like, oh well, I don't know. Then I just don't play it. And they're missing out on a lot of people like me that just casually wants to know more about Final Fantasy. They're like, hey, maybe I'll play these 3 in order, and then you have like some of them, they're not on the Xbox, and then some are, and I don't know. You make it complicated for it. Like, to me, as I said before, it's about consistency. Like, if you're gonna put Final Fantasy on Xbox, just put all of them on Xbox. Don't put like the prequel on Xbox and then the rest. You're like, oh, you want to play the rest? The story? Go play PlayStation. You can't even play the rest of the story. You
Yeah,
play
who
the
would do
first
that?
part, and you're like, oh, the second part. Well, sorry. You know, that to me is kind of crappy. Like, at least if you're gonna make some, if you're gonna put it on PlayStation, just leave it on PlayStation. That's my whole thing. Just leave it on there. If you're don't play it with my heart. If I like the story,
so you may get it sometime. Yeah, you may not.
someday. Yeah. That's my whole thing.
We got a $5 super chat from Alvin. Says this is a great combo. Also, Redfall, Game of the Year 2023, Arcane, and 23 years has never missed. Wow. Well, Alvin, that's going to be a hell of a year to try and get Game of the Year in, man. I'm just going to say, because holy shit, 2023, not only are you going against other big Xbox franchises like Forza Motorsport and also Starfield and what will potentially be an Xbox franchise at that point, and Diablo 4, which will also be multi-platform. I'm just throwing that out there. Is going to be hard. I mean, then not only just for those games, but also you got Final Fantasy 16 probably. You're going to have lots of big time titles, and maybe Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 could be 2023 as well. Who knows?
They said that, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Right. So it's going to be a tough year, but I think that there's going to be a lot of great games, and it will be a very interesting Game of the Year awards to watch that year, because I think this year we can like his Elden Ring's going to get it. You know what I mean? It's like I don't really see anything coming unless God of War Ragnarok blows people away like substantially. That is going to keep Elden Ring from getting Game of the Year.
Last of Us 1 count, I guess.
Last of Us,
will it be
technically would count, but I don't know if they'll put it in there.
I guess I don't know, man. They should. That was a question that's been asked before, because it's the same story. You know what I mean? Like
$70.
Yeah, I don't know if
that game will tick me off. We shouldn't.
I think a lot of people will not vote for it for Game of the Year just because it's a remake. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if remakes are really included, but then again,
didn't
one of the Resident Evils get nominated when they did the remake for 2 or something?
Yeah, did Demon Souls?
I'm trying to remember. Was Resident Evil
nominated?
2? I think Demon Souls was in there.
Was Demon Souls nominated for a Game of the Year award? Anybody know?
Pretty sure it was.
Not for the
not
for what's his name's Game Awards, not for Keeley's, but
right.
It may have been for others.
That was for Forza Motorsport is going to be a reboot, so it's like a remake potentially. So maybe not. I'm just kidding. Now, I'm curious. Like, has a remake ever won a Game of the Year award?
Did it? Yeah, Demon Souls won for GameSpot at least.
I mean, the Game Awards.
Oh, the Game Awards. I don't know. But I don't know. If you like GameSpot.
There has not been a remake that won a Game Award.
Yeah, I don't think so. Right? Like it's Psycho says no. So that's I don't recall one either, Psycho. Like I don't really think they should, unless it's like
God of War did in 2018, but that's like
it's more reboot, right?
That's a reboot because that's a total different
take on the game. Yeah.
It's
was Miles
now
Morales
Norse mythology, not Greek mythology.
No, Miles Morales did not.
It's different.
But Miles Morales isn't a remake either. It's like an expansion, glorified kind of.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Final Fantasy VII Remake was up for Game of the Year in 2020.
But that's a completely different take on the game too. So
I'm not seeing any like remakes or
any like remakes that are true to the originals, right? You just completely like reboots are. 2023 like is going to be interesting. I think. Right now, PlayStation has the biggest stuff for the end of 2022, although there's a lot of great stuff coming out on all platforms for 2022. Xbox has revealed a good lineup of games coming for 2022 that are in Game Pass. They're kind of, again, Game Pass acting as the exclusive to help offset the lack of actual first-party content this year. It's going to be a great second half of the year, regardless of no first-party, with a insane first half of 2023 that'll probably be the best 6-month span in Xbox history, I think, especially if Diablo 4 is exclusive at that point. My internet is crapping out like it did the other day, guys, so bear with me here. All right, are we back? Yeah, I think we're back.
Yeah, gotta wait till E3.
Yeah,
again.
all your phrases.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, all your faces were frozen
saying
for a minute.
we have to wait till E3 again, but they have. To be fair, if you're not talking about first party, they have a ton of games coming to Game Pass, so that's the good thing. Like if you don't care about first party, which I kind of don't, but I also do because Xbox been having this problem for quite some time. But there's a ton of games coming to Game Pass if you watch the showcase, and then there's a lot of other games like Hogwarts. I'm really looking forward to Hogwarts this year. Stuff like that.
Yep.
I think we're gonna get some more Game Pass announcements this year as well that haven't been announced yet, closer to release of some of the games, because that's kind of been the MO on that stuff. But yeah, let's look at some of these games.
Tidbits.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that other shit for a long time. Oh my god.
Sorry, I got a little heated. Sorry, I got carried away.
It's good conversation, man.
Like one thing we never mentioned in that is the metaverse and then the blockchain games. Those are going to be big in the next 10 years, and we don't.
No, that we have no control on because that makes fucking hands over fist money for corporations. And if corporations want
Isn't
it's
that why Square Enix sold this? They sold off the Western division because of the blockchain. And
that's what they put in their damn notes. That said, like, I don't even think they know what the hell they're doing, man. Like, oh, we did it because we like just want to make these block things.
They just hated their Western. Like, I wish someone there would just be honest and be like, we just hated our Western division. I didn't like the way they designed their offices. They were in the C block of the building, and they made our AC bill go up. They should have just said something like that. That would have made sense. That would have made more sense to me because it's crazy. Because to me, you have variety in your company. Like Square Enix, you have Final Fantasy,
not
which
anymore,
is like the Japanese. I know exactly. They have Final Fantasy was like their Japanese sort of games, and then you have your Western, and then that creates different audiences. Like there's a ton of people who are probably in this chat, hello chat, who are never gonna play a Final Fantasy game, but they'll play something like Guardians. Huh?
I said a Square game ever again.
Oh well, yeah. Now probably not, but like you have a variety of audiences. There's like a reason why I thought it was a good idea to have your Western division, like play a Guardians of the Galaxy game, play an Avengers, and then you have like your Japanese division where you play like Final Fantasy. Now they just completely got rid of their Western division. Now you just have what? What do you have now?
Just the Eastern.
Well, but what is it? Is it just Final Fantasy?
It's big JRPGs,
Dragon Agents.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to buy from them is Dragon Quest Builders 3, and I don't see us getting one of those anytime soon. So,
and I only say because I personally, Sony can keep Final Fantasy, just give me Dragon Quest and Secret of Mana and all those other titles that they're going to come out with, those other JRPGs. For me, like I lost interest with Final Fantasy after 15 came out, and I have been done with that. So that's why
I've been trying. This is hard to get a hard series to get into, honestly. As a person who just played
because the good games are 15? So dated now. Like the ones that were great when we grew up. You know, like when I was playing like Final Fantasy VII and shit, like with my friends and stuff, like
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Good dude.
I already need a tutorial to know what the heck is going on in Kingdom Hearts. Like,
Kingdom Hearts is fucking weird, man. I don't like.
I like Kingdom Hearts. I need a tutorial or a long, like a 2-hour video to explain what the heck is going on.
Shout out to anybody that loves Kingdom Hearts. I know, no disrespect. I
love Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. I say I love. Kingdom Hearts,
you shouldn't. I'm just kidding. It's a very popular franchise. Again, I like. Hopefully, we get more games like that coming to Xbox. This is a new generation for JRPGs with Xbox. Kind of abandoned Xbox One, but now with the market share being closer, and again, like in the US, like we're close to potentially Xbox outselling the PlayStation 5
again
for a while. I don't know.
I mean, actually, I mean, like totals, not just week. I mean, like total. Xbox Series X and S is about to be on top of PS5 sales in the United States. right? Which is the
Series S
largest
doesn't
market,
count,
you know, like, and it's also increasing to being actually sold in Japan, which is a small market compared to the US. However, it's growing in audience there more than they have since the 360 generation. So like, it just doesn't make any sense to fucking abandon the platform or like to not pay attention to it. And I think we're going to see more and more games come to Xbox that from Eastern studios. And that's just another reason why I think Square's an idiot for this decision, but it is what it is.
This is not a smart move by Square by getting their games what is it, money headed? Is that the term? Yeah,
money headed.
I mean, it's business. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, fine. If